Don't you hate pants?
Here's Brunette. Brunette's in. Andrew Brunette shot score. Andrew Brunette in sudden death overtime, and Minnesota is moving on.
I won't need my high school diploma anymore. I am the smart. I am the smart. I am the smart. I am the smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-R-T.
Played here by Danny deeply, and out they come 2-on-1. This is Niederreiter holding onto it, and he scores! Nino Niederreiter wins the series for the Minnesota Wild.
Welcome to another edition of the Giles and the Goalie podcast. We're here live, but not live again, via Skype. I'm Ben Remington, your faithful host for the day, and I'm talking over Skype with the namesake, Giles. How's it going, Giles?
I'm okay. Another terrible Minnesota sports weekend, so
Well,
naturally.
yeah. I mean, the Vikings won, right? You like that?
Yeah, that's alright, but
You finally got that Starship montage?
I try not to get as emotionally invested in football as I do other sports.
Right.
'Cause the Vikings are quite good at breaking your heart.
That they are. Which is why I'm not a fan. Yeah, but otherwise, ugly. Jesus, ugly. Right down to the latest news of coaches getting axed at the Gopher football program. No pun intended.
Ouch.
Now that I think about it, pun intended. Anyway, so yeah, let's, not to bring this podcast down even a couple more notches, but we should probably talk about the Wild, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We might as well just talk about something else. It's just terribly sad.
Yeah. So, let's see here. Well, I mean, we covered the Stadium Series jersey thanks to the Bat Signal podcast last week. And another friendly reminder that we have a Stadium Series jersey redesign contest going on at Wild Extra. Be sure and take a look at that on our website. It's brought to you along with us by AME Sports in Rosedale Mall. So it's a pretty cool contest, some cool prizes, a lot of fun to get your own say in the Stadium Series jersey, since the one that came out was so brutally boring that it kind of, brought us all to tears.
Ugh. Another terribly depressing thing.
It was a rough week. Pretty much, let's see, Sunday last week through today. Yeah, so that's 8 days chock full of sadness. That's Minnesota right there.
Yep. Minnesota. We lose all our border battles because why not?
Yep, because why not? Because we hate trophies.
We don't like winning.
Yep. Nope. That'll happen. All right, so I mean, the Wild obviously had a rough week. 0-2-1, with that one not at all really being a silver lining. So I don't know. What are your? Do you have a general thought on this week, Giles? Assuming we don't want to dive too deeply into how horrible things are.
I mean, just effort. There wasn't a lot of effort.
Yeah.
This week, and I don't know, 3 games against the Western Conference, 2 against divisional opponents, and effort is at a loss, and you need effort against those teams. Those are playoff points you're just handing away.
Yeah, and that's going to be in my article for today. The good, the bad, and the wild is that it really felt like all 3 games were mental losses. Like you said, it was you can call it effort or you can call it mental, whichever. It's kind of the same thing. It's the will to win, and it just seems like all 3 of those games there was some kind of cataclysmic breakdown in either their effort or their mental state or their will to win or whatever you want to call it. It just seems like three very different games, but the same outcome in all three essentially because they just weren't mentally strong, and that's a concern. And now it's very easy for a lot of people to bring up the mid-season swoons of seasons past, you can't blame people because it's a recurring theme with this team. They struggle mightily in the middle of the season, and nobody really knows why. At least while it's happening. Last year, it was pretty apparent that it was the goaltending. The season before that, I'm not really even sure. And this year, the losing streak they're on, you can kind of attribute it to health, but at the same time, they were mostly healthy by this weekend, and that didn't seem to do a damn thing. So
yeah, I mentioned in my article on the mid-season swoon today that the cause for hope is everybody's healthy and they're getting good goaltending, so there should be no reason why they have another terrible December. But the thing that was frightening last week was effort, so who knows? Here you got Chicago on Tuesday, so you got to have plenty of effort against those guys, otherwise you'll just get pounded.
Yeah,
like usual.
Well, now, and that was my point as well too. Is that looking ahead to the next week? You've got Chicago on Tuesday, and that's a huge game because Chicago, they're kind of doing their typical thing. They're kind of lying in wait like the slithering snakes that they are, and they're right around the Wild as far as points go. So any win or any kind of points that we can gain or give space between us and Chicago would be a great thing because they're right around our level as far as the point total goes, and they're not going to be there at the end of the season. So you want to make up some ground while you can against them, playing them face to face. And I think a good game on Tuesday and even a win, dare I say, would go a long ways towards helping this team's confidence because right now, a lot of people talk about when they have these mental struggles, it's a big confidence issue, and I buy into that to a point. So I think that this week, if they can get something going good against Chicago and beat them, that's huge. That's the kind of win that could snap, even the swooningest team out of said swoon. So, and if not, they are helped a little bit by getting to face Toronto and Colorado on Thursday and Saturday. So, if they can't muster a victory against Chicago, you've got two teams that you really, really should beat later in the week at home.
Yeah, if you can somehow win Tuesday, you can maybe sweep the week because you've got the two teams who are tied for the worst or third worst record in the league. So that effort. Maybe we need to send the 5-minute major guys back to Chicago for good luck.
Yeah, that seemed to work last time.
Get another win.
Yeah.
I don't know, but after their reports on the United Center, that's not high on my places I'd want to go see a hockey game.
I think I would have some fun with it. Chelsea dagger aside, I guess.
Oh.
I can hear your blood boil, Giles.
Note to self: drink a lot on Tuesday.
Yeah. So anyway, with that, I guess we can. You threw it out there as far as the way this week has gone and whatnot, and we actually had a fair amount of questions back. So we want to start just kick it off right into questions now, seeing as how the recap of last week and the preview of next week are very intentionally short. We want to just jump right into questions.
Wow, yeah, we did just blow through the last week and the week ahead.
Right.
I didn't even notice that.
We're just totally messing up that whole formula that Dan laid out for us.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is good.
Maybe we got into a more quicker tempo after Tuesday's run-in with the meter.
Yeah, we feel the pressure now, even though we're sitting on Skype in our own houses.
That's true. Okay, I'll fire some questions here.
Sure.
First one is from Mark Halverson. Is Yo on the hot seat? Seems like that time of year.
I don't think he's close to that yet. It's easy to say that because of the trademarked December swoon or whatever you want to call it. But as far as the actual hot seat, like where Chuck Fletcher is actually like considering making a change, no, I don't think it's close. Another couple of weeks of this, another 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks of this, and yeah, I think we're definitely in that spot. But it seems like Yo has a pretty long leash with Fletcher, but probably due to 4 consecutive playoff seasons. So right or wrong, I think that it's going to be a little while before you even really think about an actual hot seat. I know a lot. There's plenty of fans out there that want that. Because of the swoon, because of the annual swoon. But I just don't think it's quite there yet. What do you think?
Well, my argument is, if you want to replace Yo in the middle of the season, 1, why is that a good idea? 2, who are you going to replace him with?
Right.
There's nobody out there that's big on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well just see what happens this year and then make that kind of decision at the end of the year, in the off season, when other teams fire their coaches.
You know who is available? Mike Richards. We should probably move on to the next question.
I'm gonna assume you meant Todd Richards.
Todd
Mike Richards just equally as worse.
Sorry.
Equally as bad, sorry.
Yeah, both of them. We'll trade. We'll acquire Mike Richards. We'll sign him, and then we'll fire Yo, and we'll hire Todd Richards.
Oh boy, yikes! Next question from the Wild Extra Twitter account: is a hot dog a sandwich? Well, that's a pretty easy question. No.
Oh. Okay. Well, that clears that up for once and for all.
I feel like we've hit on that on this podcast. But
it's a popular podcast topic. I will give it that.
That's true. I love to tweet that at sports Twitter accounts that have like ask whoever segments. I'll always put in, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Mm-hmm.
Just to see if it gets answered. It hasn't yet. We can only hope.
I think didn't it get favorited by Alex Tuck when you asked?
Yeah.
I believe.
I think, I don't know if it was like Russo or somebody was doing an ask Tuck, and I asked him that, and he favorited it.
Oh.
So I don't know if he just liked the question or if his favoriting it meant yes. But
yeah, that's neither a confirmation nor a denial.
I don't know. If I cross paths with him again, I'll ask him.
Sure.
From Mike Wazik.
Sure.
I said, I assume you will comment on trade rumors. If you were Chuck Fletcher, would you trade for Ryan Johansson? How much would you give up? Boy. That's, I guess, if Granlund goes right back into the tank, then yeah, I'd probably give that a look, because Columbus could probably use some defensemen, and the Wild have just a plethora of defensemen to hand out, and some draft picks, I'm guessing, which Fletcher loves to give away like candy on Halloween. I mean, Granlund's playing better. I mean, obviously he's the scapegoat from yesterday's loss to Dallas for that shorthanded goal, which that was an atrocious shift. I'm not denying it. It's just he's been playing much better lately. So
yeah, agreed.
I guess I wouldn't, because I'm guessing that the Wild will have to send someone with significant salary the other way.
Yeah.
It would probably have to be more than Johansson for like Granlund and prospects and picks.
Right.
Everybody's so damn close to the cap.
Yeah. We haven't really heard a lot of trade rumors, and there's probably a reason for that. I mean, number one, it's November still, technically. And and you just don't hear a whole lot about that in November. That's really more of a January thing. And also, yeah, like you said, everyone is right up against the cap. I mean, the Wild are certainly in that spot, but they are not alone. There's so many teams that are struggling on a daily basis to stay under that cap, just like the Wild are. So, yeah, I don't see a whole lot of teams just willing to eat contracts at this point, a la Jason Pominville or Nicholas Backstrom. I don't think there's a whole lot of those squads out there. I don't doubt that, I don't deny that we could see a move at some point. I mean, if this soon continues, like it did last year, basically what turned around was the trade for Devin Dubnyk. So, Fletcher seems much more inclined to do that than to drop the axe on Mike Yeo. So maybe he makes something happen. But again, when you're dumping that much salary as he needs to dump in order to acquire anyone, there's going to be a lot going the other direction. Because, teams aren't just going to take on that kind of salary for nothing. They're going to want picks. They're going to want prospects. They're probably going to want, young NHLers. And the Wild, despite Fletcher's best efforts, still have a fair amount of all three.
I looked it up here. Johansson only makes, there's only a $4 million cap hit, which isn't terrible.
No.
But Granlund's at $3 million, so
right.
You'd have to toss somebody else in there to even out the salary. The Wild, when cap friendly, the Wild are actually $155,000 over the cap.
Yeah, I believe it.
This also has Olofsson and Gabriel and Schrader still on the roster. So
yeah, and they're usually called up per emergency conditions, so they don't count against the cap or whatever, however that works. So, but still, the point is valid. They're still right up against the cap, and that's basically all it comes down to. So, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough for them to make a deal this year. Last year, they had some wiggle room, and they were able to fit in Devin Dubnyk in that wiggle room. But I don't know that that's going to happen this year because they are so strapped right now, and it's just brutal.
Man, if only they had like $3 million of empty cap space.
Right, like $3.41 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's nice.
Anyway.
Let's see. Go on. Brent Walby asks, or he says, it seems like the penalty kill has taken a 180 from where it was a year ago. Was Brodziak the glue?
That's really easy to say because he's the only thing that's different. But they actually pointed this out during the broadcast the other day or night or whichever, that the save percentage on the penalty kill seems to be a lot lower than it was last year. So Dubnyk is basically not doing as well on the penalty kill as he was last season. So that's kind of a concern because that's not something that is easily explainable and is going to change easily. So I don't know. I don't think that it's as easy as, we're missing Brodziak, who was a good penalty killer, but, I don't want to be so eager to crap on, Eric Halla or Chris Porter or Ryan Carter or whoever they have out there because they seem to be doing a pretty decent job. It just seems like, the soft goals that Dubnyk let in more or less seem to be on the penalty kill for some reason. They're getting, and it's something that I've noted this year is it seems to be a lot more screen shots on Dubnyk, and I don't know. I'm wondering if that's the book on him now, where you basically just have to park a guy in front of him, and he's not great at seeing through a screen or tracking pucks through a screen. I wonder if that's the book on Dubnyk now because he seems to be letting in a fair amount of as they would call low risk shots or long shots, but it just seems like every single time he doesn't even see it. Which I don't want to completely throw the defense under the bus because ultimately that's that rests on them too. But that's on him a little bit too. As a goalie, you if you're screened, you kind of have to do something about it more or less. Your defenseman should clear some guys out of the way. If they can, but at the same time, you have to find a way to track the puck through that screen. So I don't know. It's something that I may look deeper into, but it just seems like Dubnyk is being screened a lot more this year, and that unfortunately, may be the reason for a lot of our penalty kill woes, because power play is good for producing those long-range shots with the guy in front of the net. So teams seem very eager to take those against Dubnyk this year, and unfortunately a lot of them are going in.
I don't know, for whatever reason, last year Jason Zucker was penalty killing and was pretty good at it. Added a nice
He's got the speed for it. Yeah.
And he's not back there at all. And they got, seems like Coyle's taking more regular shifts on the PK, and I don't know, maybe just bad luck or something. But I mean, yeah, Brodziak was good on the PK, but you gotta move on at some point, and you gotta. These kids want bigger roles. Well, here you go. Somebody kill penalties. Do good at it.
Yeah.
It's concerning.
Yeah, for sure.
If I had some time, I'd love to look at some film and see what they're doing differently.
Yeah, it's something I may do soon as well.
And you can't go from the best penalty kill in the league to the worst penalty kill in the league just because of one person.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's literally what they've done. So I don't know. I'd be interested to know if there was any kind of systematic changes that they made. Why would they? Because obviously the personnel hasn't changed much. So it's just a very weird thing.
Yeah. From Corbin Burrich?
Sure.
No, if I'm getting your name wrong, yell at me, and I'll.
You pronunciation guides.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good with names. So, as we all learned a few podcasts ago, not good at
aesthetics.
Anyway, why is Dumba not getting more minutes? Seems like Suter is back to playing the whole game.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, I mean, no, you're not wrong on Suter this season, because his average is 28 minutes and 1 second, which is high, but I think at the beginning of the year, I remember them saying they wanted him in the 25, 26 minute range.
Right.
So here we are again. That's 3 minutes more than what they wanted him in. He's still playing good, but I don't know. Give him a few shifts off. As for Dumba, he's not playing good at all. Yeah. So I don't blame them for not putting him out there. In fact, I was thinking the other night, if they should just send him down to Iowa to get his stuff together. But cause I know that this came up like a week ago or something, that they can still send him down.
Yep.
So you probably should. Maybe when Poland gets his act together, can swap out Dumba if he's still
and Scandell is back soon too, so that'll help a lot. That kind of gives them 4D to 4 solid D they know they can work with. He's right about Suter. His minutes have crept back up. He was in that 25 to 27 range early in the season like they thought. And then, as soon as injuries started to happen on the blue line and even without injuries a little bit, it started to creep back up. And granted, he has been a lot better this year. I mean, he's got a lot more points. He's scoring more, and it looks like he actually belongs in the power play sometimes, which is something that kind of blows my mind, and I'm sure is a surprise to quite a few people. But, it's when you're down Scandella or when you're down any other player that we've had, any other defenseman that we've had out for any extended period of time, Suter's minutes are going to skyrocket, and that's just that's just one of those things that Yo does. He leans on Ryan Suter a lot, and I'm sure Suter wants to be out there every minute that he can. So if he's out there for half the game, he's probably pretty happy with that. And as long as he's playing well, it's a lot more palatable to deal with him getting 28 minutes a game. Last year when he was playing pretty poorly and getting 29 minutes a game, that was really frustrating. But until we see a real downturn in his production and a lot of the mistakes that he was making last year and whatnot. 28 minutes a game isn't killing me if as long as it's because of injuries and ineffectiveness to other defensemen, which leads me to Dumba, where we got to remember that this kid's still 21, and he's yet to play a full season in the NHL. So yeah, he doesn't look good right now, and that's all there is to it. I really like the move where they sent Folien down to Iowa. I think that was a good move. Folien, for as steady as he can be, did look a little bit lost at times, I felt like. In the last couple of weeks, I felt like there was some plays here and there where it just looked like he missed his assignment or wasn't as sharp as he could have been. So I think a trip to Iowa probably will hopefully help him out. And I disagree with your point about Dumba. I think maybe as long as they can, maybe a trip to Iowa would help him out. Get him 20, 25 minutes, 25 plus minutes a game rather in Iowa. Just to kind of set his head straight a little bit. Maybe get him back to his basics a little bit or something like that. Because you can't argue it worked like gangbusters last year. He was up last year to start the season. He did not look good for the most part. Spent a lot of time in Iowa middle of the season last year, then came up at the end and was really pretty solid for the team down the stretch. Responsible defensively to a point, and certainly showcases offensive skills on occasion. He's not doing any of that right now, so I think a trip to Iowa would help him, and it would, in all honesty, maybe help Mike Riley a little bit too, because he's kind of been the workhorse for the Iowa defensive core, and when you're the defenseman out there for most of the game on a team that bad, it's obviously doing a number on his plus minus, which is a microcosm of how bad his and Iowa's season is going.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for bringing up Riley, by the way.
Well, no, Iowa, just a train wreck.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah. That poor Bruins goalie that we're beating like a rental car. Literally.
It's like that episode in The Simpsons where Homer takes one of those electric cars out for a test drive, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, this can drive in the lake," and then he just dumps it in the lake, and then the car just is toast.
That's exactly what we're doing to Smith right now, basically.
That's
I'd say we could apologize to the Bruins about it, but nah.
And that'll be the last time anybody loans us a goalie ever.
No doubt. If you're Stephen McCulloch, you got to be pretty happy with being in Quad Cities and not facing the onslaught that he's facing in Iowa.
Yeah, he's playing well in Quad City.
Yep.
But next question from we got a lot of questions today.
Yeah,
crap.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Aaron Berger, he had a question on last week's podcast. His today is home team jersey color. Should it be white? Should it be colored? He misses the teams wearing the dark uniforms on the road and the whites at home.
Yes.
Obviously, he is hitting our number one topic on this podcast. So
Jersey talk.
I appreciate Jersey questions.
Hey, if anybody needs a Jersey question answered, if they're not going to us, that should be concerning to us at this point.
Yep.
If they know who we are, that is.
We are the... yeah.
Obviously, Aaron's hitting the nail on the head here. I don't know exactly why we ever went to darks at home. I realize that was a tradition ages upon ages ago in the NHL, but how long were they wearing white jerseys at home in the NHL? I mean, upwards of 50 to 60 years, something like that. I just... Yeah, I mean, you want to see your team colors at home, blah, blah, blah. And then football does it, whoopee-doo. I don't understand it. I don't like it. It's a tradition that, was so obscure and not really recognized. And that was a tradition from when teams didn't really have white jerseys, too. Right. It was red versus blue and red versus green and black versus blue. And, so I don't understand why they felt the need to revive that tradition. It comes, the point that I think of is the reason why the Dallas Cowboys wear white at home. It was a ploy by their owner because he realized that if he wore his dark jerseys at home, the fans would see blue versus white every night or every game, and that always kind of resonated with me as far as like why you go to a Wild game and you're going to see red versus white or green versus white, and that's it. That's the only options you ever see.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a tradition that I would like to refute. I really wanted to see them go back to white jerseys at home, and I think you're probably on the same page with that, huh?
I mean, I don't mind the darks at home.
Mm-hmm.
I think more so they did this so teams could create dark alternates
Right.
that could be worn at home.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're wearing your darks on the road and you're making dark alternates,
Yeah.
like you have to. No, your home team your home crowd isn't seeing that.
Right.
Like we talked about last week, those hideous Vancouver Canuck alternates from the early 2000s, and they had to wear those on the road.
Which just made people hate them more.
Yeah, I don't wish that on anyone. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I get your point, but I seem to remember when in the infancy of the third jersey program that teams would wear their third jerseys at home.
yeah,
And road teams would wear white. And that was, a scheduled thing, much like when the Wild right now, it's a scheduled thing when they wear the green jerseys during the regular season. So, I don't know. I don't know why they don't just go to that. I mean, or for that matter, go to color on color. I don't understand why there's such a big problem with that. I mean, we see it very infrequently in college football, and we see it somewhat infrequently in baseball, but we don't see it anywhere else. And it's just like, is it really that hard to differentiate between red and blue or green and black? Or, it seems to me like you could go color on color in hockey and it really wouldn't make that big of a difference. Are you watching Batman or something?
Am I what?
Are you watching Batman or something?
I am watching Moonraker.
Bond, okay.
And it's hitting the most sci-fi effects scene in the history of movies in the final battle here. Everybody's floating and lasers are about to
awesome.
fire. It's hilarious.
Okay.
But anyway, episode 30, Moonraker.
Sure.
Now I lost my train of thought.
Jerseys?
I got lost in the lasers.
White jerseys, dark jerseys. And we're finishing up on that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't mind that they wear the darks at home, but if they went back to the whites at home, I would not mind either.
Sure.
So, I mean, I love jerseys. Some of my favorite jerseys ever are white. So
yes, agreed. I don't see it as a downgrade at all.
Yeah. I guess Tony from Hockey Wilderness wanted to know why we didn't start throwing punches 2 minutes into the podcast to provide a spark. I guess he has a point because we just slow start for us.
It seems like we start slow often.
Yeah.
That's just kind of our thing. We ease into it,
Yep.
That's just what we do.
Yeah. I mean, next time, I guess if we start slow, I'll just fight, and then we'll see if that gets us going.
Okay.
But,
that'll have to be in person, and then it becomes a bar fight. So that's a whole different level of fight. And it certainly doesn't involve
Twitter
lasers.
question. We got 3 more here.
Oh.
2 of which we're gonna probably blow through pretty quickly. From Kelsey, do you ever feel like a plastic bag? No, probably not.
I wish I knew what she was getting at there. I'm going to say no, but I'm going to give it the caveat of maybe sometimes.
I mean, I guess, I don't know, if I knew what a plastic bag felt like, if that's that's bad, then I don't know. I'd say yes, this morning I did feel like a plastic bag. I was not doing good.
No.
From Eric, why is it called a power play and a face-off? Why are the red and blue lines red and blue? These are things I've never thought of, but I have no idea. It'd be interesting. There was like a green line and a yellow line instead of a red line and a blue line.
Yeah, I think that red and blue they're just traditional colors that were used. When you see markings on other fields, and stuff like that, for the most, I guess it doesn't really happen anywhere else besides hockey because everything else is just white paint. But I think those are just standard colors. Yellow would be pretty hard to see on ice. And, I guess they could have gone with green, but, green and purple, I don't know, those are they feel like they're kind of muddled colors. So, I guess they went with the primary colors, the blue, yellow, the blue, yellow, red, and then they just got rid of the yellow because you can't really see it on ice all that well.
Bring back the Fox Tracks puck effect, where the puck is blue and it leaves a trail.
Right, but if you would notice, the red line in in all virtually arenas is not solid red. It's usually checkered because of that goes back to black and white TV, where you couldn't tell what was the red line and what was the blue line. So that's the reason for that, if anybody didn't know, which I'm sure a lot of people did, but just throwing that out there.
Well, now teams kind of input their own design on a red line. And,
right.
Not even the checkers. Like, I know, just off the top of my head, like Tampa Bay, it just has lightning bolts in the red line.
Why don't we have pine trees?
That's a question for the next time Craig Leopold's on the Russo podcast.
We want pine trees on the red line. Or stars.
And then the last question I had here from noted friend of the podcast, Dan Mick.
Oh, Jesus.
When can I press the panic button on the Wild, and why do the sports gods hate me? Well, we can push the panic button in, I don't know, mid-December if this keeps up.
Mm-hmm.
And, the sports gods clearly hate all of Minnesota, Dan, not just you. So, we're all kind of in the same boat here because we don't win things.
But if the sports gods hated Dan more, I wouldn't be super surprised. You know what I mean?
It could be.
Just throwing that out there.
The only team that Dan loves that's doing well right now is Liverpool. So.
That's not a Minnesota team, so there you go right there.
So I watched last night's Gopher game and the Wild game with Dan at Tom Reed's, and oof.
I'm gonna guess there was a couple of beverages consumed there.
When you lose twice, yeah. I don't know. Cheers to the older gentleman sitting next to us who bought us a shot of Fireball.
Oh, nice.
That was appreciated.
Did he recognize you from the podcast?
No.
Oh.
He just... Dan and him were just chatting, having a good time, and then all of a sudden there was Fireball in front of us.
Okay, well...
Although, actually, I probably shouldn't thank him, because shortly thereafter, Dan punched me in the leg, and it still hurts. good leg bruise from that. So that one's probably chalked up to the Fireball.
I suppose there'd be worse things, to happen after a shot of Fireball than that. But, still, not good.
Also, for whatever reason, the St. Paul Curling Club decided to have their banquet at Tom Reed's last night.
During a hockey game? Jesus.
Like, the bar was, relatively, kind of cleared out because everybody went into the game.
Sure.
And then, the entire club came into the bar and they had a buffet. Yikes.
That just seems poorly timed.
Yeah. As soon as the game was over, we got out of there because I didn't want to see what it was going to be like.
Oh, yeah. All those curling fans and hockey fans arguing over the best use for ice.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess that got spirited discussions, I guess. But,
I can see that.
Yeah, that did it for Q&A.
No, okay. Well, it's good questions. That's the most questions we've gotten by quadruple or something like that. So
yeah,
that's a good week. We're going places.
Yeah, apparently people like the podcast.
And they like to ask us nonsensical questions too.
I don't know. Maybe we should leave it to a Twitter poll from the Wild Extra account. Do you like this podcast?
I don't know that we want to see the results of that, Giles. Let's be honest.
Well, results are probably going to be skewed anyway, because yesterday I put out a Twitter poll on who wins between Minnesota and Wisconsin, and I think it ended with 63% saying Minnesota. Just a bunch of homers.
That's unrealistic.
Good Lord.
Yeah. And Dan probably has multiple accounts to vote from, so we should probably just throw out a couple of votes right off the bat.
Yeah, Dan loves to... Dan gets on me sometimes for having a couple of Twitter accounts. But
I have never seen that before.
I don't know if he uses them anymore. So,
gotcha.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the trademark segment that we feature every week. So we're doing a jersey review, if you will, or a jersey spotlight every week of an upcoming Wild opponent. And this week, it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're facing them on Thursday at home. And, they're a team that I really do like their jerseys and their simplicity and the fact that they haven't really messed with them a ton. But, they do have a fair amount of variations as found on NHLuniforms.com, the second best website on the internet behind Wild Extra, of course.
Duh.
So
Yeah,
what are your likes and dislikes on the Maple Leafs?
Well, my initial thought of the Maple Leafs is, they've had a stable set of jerseys throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing drastic or not even a '90s atrocity.
Right,
We've seen from
which is
some other teams.
a little
They've
weird,
stayed
but
pretty consistent, and their sets right now are probably some of the better ones, just because they're pretty simplistic. Although if we're looking for the best and the worst, I guess my worst has to be these whites from 1934 to 37 that have 1,000 stripes on them.
they do. It looks like an Adidas ad gone wild.
Oh God, terrible thought. When the NHL switches to Adidas, that jersey makes a roaring comeback.
I think it does, because they're all three stripes too.
Oh,
Yeah, it's going to happen.
I'm gonna have nightmares. And then my best. My friend of mine had this jersey. That was their alternate whites from 2000 to 07. It was the jersey they wore in the last game of Maple Leaf Gardens.
Sure.
I think what gets me with this jersey is just the crest more than anything. That's probably one of the best hockey logos there is.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, a couple of stripes and some solid blue, and it's a good look.
Yep. Yeah, and I like their jersey for that reason too. It's a good simple look, and I can go back and forth between their classic logo that was a more realistic leaf, and their current logo, which is the more solid lined leaf that they modeled after the Canadian flag. I like either one of them, which is kind of something new. Not something you usually find with jerseys. When they went to the Reebok Edge system, they kind of abandoned a ton of stuff with their jerseys. I'm not really a fan of that because they went very bland. Just kind of two stripes on the sleeves, logo on the front, done deal, over. Yeah. So it's good they've added a couple of those tail stripes back and have some shoulder patches that throw back to years previous. But another interesting note that we have here at NHL Uniforms, from 45 to 48, the wording inside of their blue jerseys, the wording on the Maple Leaf itself was red. And there really doesn't seem to be an explanation for that. I'm not sure why, but it says Toronto Maple Leafs in red print on their blue jerseys with a white leaf. That was before, mind you, before the Canadian flag. The red and white Canadian flag was introduced in 1965, so I'm not exactly sure what they were going for there.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I guess the other kind of weird jersey anomaly that they've had was the shoulder patches in kind of the same time frame of the alternates I just mentioned, but on their road and home uniforms, their shoulder patches just said TLM.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
That was a weird choice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. If that's all that's been bad with their jersey history, then
True.
That's pretty solid.
And this is actually a team where I do not own a jersey of theirs, and I would like to. I've been looking for years for a Felix Potvin jersey, and I cannot find one. That's not obscenely expensive or disgusting. But I would like to have one.
I own one of those whites from the 2000s with the TLM on it. Mm-hmm. It just, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It was only like $10 or something on eBay. So
nice.
I figured, why not?
I should really do some more eBay jersey shopping, but I think I'm going to hold off on that until after my Vegas trip.
Yeah, one can go nuts with that. So.
Oh, I definitely have. Definitely have.
What else do I have? I guess you can maybe find a good bargain on a Phil Kessel jersey.
I'll probably pass on that one.
I don't know. Does it come with hot dogs?
It comes with mustard stains, yes.
Phil and hot dogs are synonymous for some weird reason.
I kind of like stuff like that. Like, obviously, it's funny. Just like, yeah, haha, he looks fat. Whatever. Or he is fat, whichever. I like stuff like that, random sports, connections like that, where it's like, you can't think of hot dogs without thinking of Phil Kessel, or you can't think of Bacardi without thinking of Danny Allstar, that kind of stuff, where it's just like, it's kind of funny, or you can't think of Dubs without thinking of Randy Johnson. Those kind of things. I just think that those kind of things make sports a little more pop culture-ish, and some fun can be had there.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't really have anything else on Maple Leafs jerseys.
Yeah, me neither.
They're just good jerseys, bad team.
That is a very accurate statement. How's what's going on in Moonraker?
Actually, just the credits started rolling.
Oh.
The epic space battle ended.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming Bond won.
Yep. Of course. And then Jaws goes off into the sunset with his girlfriend, which is weird.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
Jaws gets a girlfriend. It's.
I guess maybe some chicks are into that. I don't know.
Trying to get caught up on watching the Bond movies before I go see the new one, and I'm realizing I have short amount of time to go see the new one now because
it's already out,
and a bunch of Christmas movies are going to start coming out, so yeah.
Are you the type that has to watch certain Christmas movies like once a holiday season?
Yeah, every Christmas, my family will watch Christmas Vacation when we have breakfast and exchange gifts and whatnot. But which is always a classic.
Yeah,
that's number one Christmas movie. The better question is, do you consider Die Hard to be a Christmas movie?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I mean, I can totally see why, but yeah, I mean, let's not push the boundaries too much here.
That's a bad take. Don't you hate pants?
Don't you hate pants?
Yeah, I don't really have a tradition like that. I mean, obviously, I've seen a lot of the Christmas movies. One way or another, I wind up just somehow running into watching Elf once a Christmas season.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and other than that, I'll hit up Christmas Vacation once in a while, or you'll flip around, you'll see Charlie Brown Christmas or Miracle on 34th Street, stuff like that, where it's like I'm not I'm in the in-between age where I'm not watching it as a child or watching it as a parent, so it's not really a whole lot of interest to me. But I do recognize the classics, so not something I regularly do, but I will wound up. I do find myself watching Christmas movies on occasion. What I do is I do listen to a fair amount of Christmas music, which people find probably wholly annoying. But I really don't care because I'm on #Team Christmas.
Well, I mean it's acceptable to listen to Christmas music now.
Right.
I don't know. Kind of in the past, I've just been kind of a stickler for it's not Thanksgiving yet. Don't talk about it. But now I don't care.
I don't disagree with that.
If you listen to it whenever, good for you.
Yeah.
I just won't until after. Thanksgiving.
Sure. No, I totally agree with that. I'm a big fan of Christmas, huge fan of Christmas, but I really don't care to do anything with it until after Thanksgiving, because it's just like, not that I feel like Thanksgiving is, I do feel like it's disrespected, but I don't really care that much about it, like I'm not a Thanksgiving, vehement Thanksgiving defender or anything. But it's just like, I feel like if you keep the time period short for celebration, it turns out to be more special that way. If you stretch Christmas into 2 months, it kind of feels less special than celebrating Christmas for just like a solid month,
Yeah.
That's kind of my take on that. My hot take.
I tried putting up some Christmas lights yesterday, and then I realized they had all burnt out or they weren't working.
Brutal.
It's just like, you gotta be kidding me. So I don't know. It's a lot of work, Christmas.
It is.
Although I'll promote my tweet from earlier today again when I said, if you're looking to get me a good Christmas gift, it's an open message to anyone. You can get the Mighty Ducks trilogy for less than $20 on Amazon for Cyber Monday.
Oh.
Please, somebody give me that.
I'll be honest, I'm surprised it's that expensive.
Yeah, it's on sale. But I don't know. Apparently they listen to me on Twitter, and apparently I'm the only one that drives the market. So.
Well, Giles wants it, so it's worth at least $20.
Yep. They know I'm the last person who doesn't own a trilogy on DVD, so...
They've got one copy in the warehouse, and they're just itching. They're just waiting for you to click.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose I can do it for now. We're a little short of an hour, but hey, there's no rules that say that we have to go a full hour, right? I'm not aware of any rules, at least.
No.
No?
Not at all. And I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot to say about the Wild, really.
We definitely could piss and moan for, well longer than an hour if we wanted to, but, do people really want to hear that? I don't know. We did it enough already, I feel like. We did it for, roughly about 20 minutes, half an hour, so that's pretty good.
My last gripe with the Wild is, if you're going to call up Kurtis Gabriel and say, he just doesn't play a physical game, we love his skills, they've improved, blah, 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 then play him more than 4 minutes a night.
I know. I don't get that at all. I'd like to see what he actually can do as a hockey player. You know what I mean? And we haven't seen that, because he goes out and he fights, and that's the end of his night, basically. And he's he's basically getting benched after every fight that he takes, which is twice now. And it's just like, I don't think that he's a completely one-dimensional player. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that he's anything more than just a big fourth liner. But can we at least see that? Can we at least see a little bit of that? That's something that I feel like is semi-valuable even in today's NHL. Can we see him do a little bit of that? Can we see him fight for a puck in the corner instead of, fight for his team and then fight for a water bottle for 60 minutes afterwards? That. I'd rather see that.
And I haven't been overly impressed in Iowa with him. So
sure.
I don't know. I guess when you're that desperate, might as well call him up.
It's a warm body, I suppose.
For the Jets, send him out there to fight Anthony Peluso or whatever trash fourth liner they send out there. So
Exactly.
Whatever. Don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. I just, I don't think that there's... why call him up then? Why not call up anybody else if that's what you're going to do? Like I said, if you're going to play him for 7 to 10 minutes a game and get him some fourth line time, then I'm fine with it. But if you're going to send him out there for 2 shifts and then he fights and then he's done for the night, then why bother? Why bother calling anybody up for 3 minutes a game? It just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
But what do you do?
Healthy or just thereabouts.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about him getting called back up anytime soon.
Right.
So.
Yeah, silver lining. All right. Well, that'll do it for now. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the download. Thanks for checking out Wild Extra. A whole lot of stuff going on. I think we've got, if I saw right, we've got 4 articles already locked and loaded for Monday. So, whole lot of stuff for you to read if you're not reading it already as you're listening to this. And also, something that's ongoing is that jersey contest I mentioned before. So, be sure to upload that template and have some fun with Microsoft Paint or Photoshop or Crayon or whatever you choose to do, and send it back into us and see if you can win some prizes. That'll do it for now. I am Ben Remington at Ben Remington. He is Giles Farrell at Giles Farrell, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.